Ms. Poh Li San.
Thank you, Minister Edwin, for moving this motion to recognize and congratulate our Team Singapore athletes. Mr. Speaker, I would like to mention that as Deputy President of the Singapore Table Tennis Association, there might be some personal association on the subject that I'll be speaking on. Tokyo Games will be remembered as an extraordinary pandemic Olympic and Paralympic Games. The Tokyo International Olympic Committee and the International Paralympic Committee defied the multitude of obstacles, protests, delays, and criticisms to have successfully hosted the event. For bringing the world together to compete and to celebrate the spirit of humanity in the midst of a global crisis, the organizing committee certainly deserves the accolades. With sports, humanity triumphs. With sports, people all over the world can unite, and with sports, we can overcome adversity. Singaporeans are worn out by the mental, economic, and social impact from COVID-19. Over the past 2 years, we have witnessed and are reminded of the darkness of mental wellness issues. Sports can strengthen our bodies and minds, toughen our fighting spirit, and uplift our spirits during difficult times. Sports can bring Singaporeans of different races and religions, socio-economic backgrounds together, and be the unifying force that bonds and builds Singapore. In this speech, I'm calling for this House to do better and more for our national athletes, as well as for all community sports participants, and to affirm the greater purpose of sports to bond Singaporeans. Singaporeans can easily recall the historic Joseph Schooling's win against the swimming legend Michael Phelps during the 2016 Rio Olympics. That victory electrified Singapore and brought cheers and celebration across the entire nation. His victory was an inspiration to budding young athletes, and his win re-energized the entire local sporting fraternity with renewed ambitions and possibilities. Our athletes may not have won any medal in the recent Tokyo Olympics, but there were some debutants who delivered commendable performances in their maiden Olympic Games, namely shuttlers Kian Yu and Jia Min, fencers Kyria and Amita, and sailors Kimberly and Cecilia. In the Tokyo Paralympics, our athletes delivered better than expected. Our athletes came home with 2 gold medals and broke 5 national records. Our heartiest congratulations to our swimmer and also former nominated Member of Parliament, Ms. Ip Pin Siu, for winning 2 golds at Tokyo Paralympic Games and a total of 5 Paralympic gold medals for Singapore since Beijing Paralympics in 2008. And congratulations as well to Pin Siu's coach, Mr. Mark Che, who is also an honorable member of the House. Our Olympians and Paralympians remind us that with grit, determination, and passion, we can overcome life's challenges. With public expectations, every athlete is expected to perform well, even though there will only be one winner. The thing about competitive sports is that it trains you to be resilient, instills discipline, and to embrace failure and pick yourself up again to be better. When Joseph Schooling did not advance beyond the heats, there were many nasty comments hurled at him on the social media. At the same time, many Singaporeans, including President Halimah, Minister Edwin Tong, and yourself, Mr. Speaker, came forward to support him. Minister Edwin reminded Singaporeans that we should not be fair-weather fans and we must be consistent in our support of our athletes, whether they win or lose. We must embrace failure, give constructive and not destructive comments. And beyond winning medals, we must remember the greater meaning of sports and of the Olympic Games, as summed up by Tokyo Olympics chef de mission, Dr. Ben Tan, and I quote him, "Team Singapore showed professionalism, fearlessness, and tenacity at the Olympics," unquote. It is already an immense achievement for an athlete to qualify for the Olympics. In the midst of this raging pandemic, it takes an even greater amount of determination and courage to compete. So we must all support Team Singapore. Mr. Speaker, now that the Tokyo Games is over, it is time to review our national sports strategy. Professor Tommy Cole mentioned in his opinion piece that small countries could win medals as well. I agree. Now that it's evident to us that being small and unable to perform is just an excuse, we need to look into why Singapore can't win more Olympic medals when countries that are less well endowed and with similar or smaller populations can do so. Countries such as Hong Kong, Luxembourg, San Marino, Jamaica, Bahamas, and Grenada have each won several Olympic medals. What else must Singapore do more and do differently? In preparation for this motion, I have consulted several senior members of Sport SG, Singapore Sports School, national coaches, and several national athletes. I thank them for their candor, and I would also like to put on record the commendable work and contribution in the development of the local sports ecosystem by MCCY, Sports SG, SNOC, SNPC, many national sports associations, and local sports clubs over the years. Here is a chronology of what was done so far for sports in Singapore. In 1993, the Sports Excellence Program, or SPECS in short, was introduced. In 2004, Singapore Sports School was launched, and in 2011, the Singapore Sports Institute to support Team Singapore athletes and coaches in high-performance sports started. In 2013, SPEC Scholarship for top national athletes was launched, and other athlete-centric programs were introduced. In 2014, the $1.3 billion Sports Hub with its state-of-the-art integrated facilities opened. By 2015, National Youth Sport Institute was operational. Annually, the government invests some $400 million towards sports and sports development in Singapore, including $70 million on the high-performance sports system to support the development of national athletes and national sports association. Clearly, these are significant investments by a country to ensure their high-performance athletes have a conducive training environment and some financial support for them to train and compete full-time for major competitions. However, despite these investments to the sports ecosystem, Olympic medals still elude Singapore. Clearly, there are still gaps that we need to address to help our national athletes excel on the world stage. It is time for us to make a clear commitment whether we want to provide the best possible support to our sporting talents and excel on the world stage, or are we just satisfied with participating in some major international events? If we want Singapore to shine and to show the world that our sporting talents are world-class, we will need a better plan, a clearer strategy. I would like to suggest the following recommendations basing on the following 4 points. First, focus. We need to be very clear about the sports that we intend to develop to create multiple structured development pathways. Basing on past performances and future potential, we will have to carefully identify 3 or 4 sports to focus on, basing on performance outcome and not social community participation. Second, search. To excel in anything you do, one will require the time to train. If you wish to be an Olympics champion, you need to start training from an early age. We have to build a broad-based pyramid that includes the community sports academies, clubs, and national sports association to identify young sports talents. Upon selection and training, expose these talents to high-level international competitions in order to sharpen their skills and build up their experience. It's possible to find our gems if we search hard and early enough. Third, nurture. We have to do way more if we wish to develop a conducive environment for our talents, starting with MOE schools and the institutes of higher learning to be more supportive in accommodating sports talents. Athletes will have to miss lessons or even examinations when they are representing Singapore at the regional and international sporting events. Such students should be provided with flexibility if they have to take a longer time to complete their academic studies, diploma or degree programs. It's not easy for anyone to focus 100% if they have to choose between achieving excellence in their interest and their academic commitments. Most parents will want their children to focus on academics because that is the mainstream approach when it comes to securing a good future. This common mindset about no future for professional sports in Singapore must change. Academics may not work for everyone, and sports can, in fact, be a good alternative for those who are less academic. Well, we can be talking about our strategies and problems till the cows come home, but the fact is, no money, no talk. So, on the financial aspects of nurturing a sports talent, we have to ensure that all talented athletes from humble family backgrounds are not denied a chance to excel due to the lack of resources. As of now, most of our national athletes are amateur athletes with no professional sponsorships. Most will have to juggle full-time studies or a full-time job with daily training. Nearer to major competitions, some may have to decide if they wish to take a year or two off from school or work at their own expense. Understandably, not all athletes can afford to do so. The SPEC scholarship was launched in 2013 to address this issue. Sport SG sponsor about 70 top-tiered national athletes with a monthly stipend so that they can train full-time. Sport SG also provide various training grants to those athletes who decide to take time off to train full-time. Separately, SPEC's business is a network of companies from diverse industries which offers our national athletes various career development support, such as employment opportunities and workplace flexibilities. All these grants sound good, but it's just not good enough to attract talented athletes to go professional. To groom an Olympic medalist from a young age, it can easily cost millions. Instead of having to constantly justify why more state funds should be used to groom a handful of athletes when these resources could well be channeled into social services, we could relinquish total management control of our national athletes. With professional management, successful professional athletes can be very influential, just like big stars. When athletes win medals and excel at the global stage, they not only bring pride to Singapore, but also goodwill and publicity to their corporate sponsors. We could look into working with bigger commercial corporations that require endorsements and branding, and in return, have them support the cost of training and provide financial assistance. A strong partnership with big corporate sponsors should be considered. Recently, there are some fast-growing multinational technology companies setting shop in Singapore. We ought to move fast. A career in sports can be short-lived. I would now like to touch on the matter of professional athletes retiring. In March 2015, the Singapore Coach Excellence Program was established to provide enhanced training and development pathway for all coaches from the grassroots and community to high-performance sports. However, a career in coaching may not work for all athletes. One possibility could be a continuation of partnership with the corporations that supported these athletes, or for government-linked companies, or Temasek-linked companies, or even the public service to assist and support our national athletes to transit into second careers. A viable second career opportunity would certainly provide an additional assurance to athletes and their parents when considering if they should turn professional. All professional athletes' safety net must be addressed. On this note, I would like to recommend that MCCY and MTI work together to start a sports representation program to recognize the participation of big corporations in the support of our top-tier national athletes who are keen to turn professional. Fourth, persevere. The reality is that there is no shortcut. A lot of hard work, resources, and systematic development have to be invested in order to groom that one winner. Developing a talent to be able to compete at a high-level competition and be able to have a continuous pipelines of talents will require time. These 4 pointers are necessary to ensure a strong pipeline of athletes. The next Olympic Games is only 3 years away, and we look forward to more local athletes shining brighter in the Paris Olympics in 2024. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to discuss how community sports bonds our nation. The People's Association Health Promotion and Active SG actively promotes sports and active living. The annual sports participation survey reports that regular participation of at least once weekly in sports and physical activity grew from 42% in 2011 to an all-time high rate of 69% in 2020. Since the launch of Active SG in 2014, they have garnered a membership base of 2 million and a visitorship of over 17 million every year to Active SG sports facilities and programs before the pandemic. Community sports such as Zumba and brisk walking have also garnered a huge following. In Northwest CDC, the Brisk Walking Club has membership of more than 60,000 walkers. These sporting activities are simple, widely accessible, and affordable. They are suitable for people of all ages, and more importantly, these community sports activities bring people together, regardless of their race, language and religion, gender and age. In addition, community sports and fitness activities play a very important role to keep our residents, especially the seniors, active physically and engaged psychologically so that they can continue to age actively into their golden years. To add, instead of staying home to play online games, our younger residents are reminded to exercise several times a week through these community sports. Unfortunately, the pandemic caused a severe impact on our community events. The strong momentum gathered over the past decade declined. A recent study by marketing research company Ipsos showed that 30% of 500 respondents experienced an average increase of around 5 kilograms during the pandemic. The main reason were due to the more sedentary lifestyles and the closure of and capacity restrictions in gyms and fitness studios. Fortunately, 40% of the respondents reported that they are exercising more often due to the absence of work commutes, which made it easier to carve out time to exercise. Now, going forward in a COVID endemic world, if some of the safe management measures were to remain for a prolonged period, PA, HPB, Active SG and schools must look into what can be done to encourage people to partake in community sports. There are several challenges that will require creative solutions. I hope we can consider the following. Firstly, different measures for the vaccinated and unvaccinated. Access to enclosed and air-conditioned gyms and fitness studios will not be accessible to the unvaccinated individuals. Unvaccinated individuals will have to exercise in the open spaces instead. In fact, some fitness centers, including those operated by Active SG, have started outdoor gyms so that members can still do their free weights and circuit training in an open space. Secondly, I recommend that Active SG rent out fitness studios at a special rate to fitness instructors who wish to coach their students online. This will allow some fitness instructors to leverage on technology to amplify their outreach. They could even take a step further by using these facilities to create digital content and produce fitness workout videos. Sports will prepare our youth to be physically and mentally prepared for the challenges of the real world. And my biggest concern is actually the unvaccinated young children below 12 years old. At the moment, physical education lessons for primary schools are very controlled or suspended. In fact, most national school sports meet and games have also been halted for almost 2 years now. This stoppage of physical activities has an unhealthy and negative effect on young children and youths. Not only are they not able to exercise, they are not able to interact with their friends and are also unable to develop their physical and mental strengths through sports and games. It is important for MOE to take a risk-based approach to gradually open up sports activities and CCAs in primary schools and restart the national school sports meet and games in the secondary schools and junior colleges. As the pandemic situation wanes, sports that are played in
Ms. Poh Li San, you have half a minute left.
Such as track and field, and those with minimal contact and played indoors, such as table tennis and badminton, should restart. Hopefully, team sports with less contact like volleyball and netball can also restart. Understandably, contact sports like soccer and rugby will take some time, but the game could reorganize into smaller teams so that children can resume playing again in a safe manner. Mr. Speaker, be it competitive or community sports, sports should be an integral part of our daily lives with a purpose to bond Singaporeans. Singapore is still very much a young nation, and our sporting culture is still evolving. Sports can be a viable professional career in Singapore. What is important is that we search, focus, nurture, and persevere to build a solid and strong foundation for our sporting ecosystem. Mr. Speaker, sir, through sports, we will bond and build Singapore. I support the motion. Thank you.